Good morning!
Morning!
Guess what today is?
Moving day.
Time to pack it up and head on out.
Let's do it.
Alright, and today we're going to show you step by step how we pack it all up, get Ruby ready for the road.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Let's get started on the inside. Usually I do all the inside work, Phil does all the outside work. Yeah, I got the better end of that deal, but let's jump right in. So the first thing I normally do is put everything away that will go flying through the RV as we're going down the road. So let's get started. We always make sure we do a really good sweep before we close up the sides because we don't want anything stuck under the rollers. So I have everything put away that could move around while we're in transit. So now I'm going to start with my slap bracelets and start doing some of the checkoff lists from that. Some of the things on the bracelets, of course, are outside, but I'll take care of all the inside stuff. All right, satellite. Phil's driving pillow for his back. Before we pull in the slides, one of the things I need to do is make sure our chairs are pulled all the way forward. The last thing I would want to do is pull in a slide and have it hit the side of the chair. It would knock the slide off the track. So that's one of the really important things that I have to check before we close up.
All right, so before we close up the slides, I need to come up here and make sure there's no tree debris on either the roof or the slide toppers. All right, one of the last things I'm going to do up here is take off the sail booster that I attached to the antenna when we first pulled in. So our reboost is temporarily installed up on the roof to the radio antenna, and we have to run the cable through the window into the antenna for now.
We rigged up this fancy insulation for our window. We just bought this insulation in order to keep bugs from coming in the window, and when we close the window, it seals it up in between.
Sweepers, man your brooms. All right, the reason I'm sweeping down the sides is to get any debris and cobwebs and insects off the sides, so that when we pull it inside, we don't bring all that in with us, so minimize. Always check underneath.
We're going to start up the RV to close in the sides, and before we do that, we always turn off our AC so we don't get any power surges. All right, time to close it up. This is going to come to a really big shock to all of our friends, but sometimes we don't talk enough.
That's hard to understand.
Sometimes these videos we forget to explain everything because it's still a little strange to be talking in front of a camera. In order to fix this for this video, we're going to add in some comments as we go along so things aren't confusing. Before we close any of the slides, I always make sure I can see Phil through the windows.
And I'm always outside in a spot where I can see, especially if we're near trees, I can see the top of the slide, so I know that there's nothing that's going to catch the slide topper or get caught in the slide as it's going in. And then once she starts to put the slide in, I make sure that the gaskets are going in the way they're supposed to. They're going in straight, they're not binding, if you will. And then make sure that they fully seed and seal so that we're ready to go down the road.
Next, we're going to raise the jacks, and you can see
on the panel,
thank you. You can see on the panel the lights flashing. The yellow lights you'll see pop on, that says that we're not level. And then the red lights that are blinking, those are actually our 4 jacks. So as they start, you'll see there's 4 red lights. That means all 4 are down. And then as the jack comes up, the red light will go away.
So when you see the leveling jacks start to come up, you'll notice that we have the RV snap pads on those. And let me tell you, those are a lifesaver. And we did a previous video on those. If you haven't seen that, then we'll link that below as well. All right, so one of the other things we do before getting underway is we turn our propane off. We've read the pros and the cons, some do, some don't. For us, it's just a personal safety feature that we like to have just cause, and it only takes a few seconds to turn it off. Better safe than sorry.
If you've seen our video of our first 4 months going full time, you'll know that I forgot this one. So hopefully that doesn't happen again because we had water flying out of the fridge. So in it goes. There are a few things inside of the RV I can't do myself. Of course, everyone knows I'm short, so I have to call Phil in for backup. Were you attacking it? You're such a dork. And of course, we always have to double check our slap bracelets to make sure we didn't forget anything. So let's go to the steering wheel. All right, the fridge rod is done. That one can come off. The propane is done. That one can come off. And then the rest still is not complete yet. We have a problem with our door not staying closed because it's not latching. The doorknob is not lining up right with the, what's it called, the little hole. You know the little hole where the little thing goes? That. So we have to make sure our door is propped or has a stopper on it to keep it from opening while we're driving down the road. So we found this nifty little thing at Walmart and it works perfectly. And this is why we double check all the drawers. Look, mine have hands.
Yeah, keep climbing on the furniture. The last few things that I do before we button up the RV altogether is I'll disconnect the water and the electrical. So for the water, I will turn the water off. I'll bleed some of the water out of the open Y-gate that I have for an additional hose if I need to. And then I have a quick disconnect on my water filter. I pop that off, drain the water, clean it up, put it in the bay, and then I'll take the water pressure regulator off and store that as well. Clean the hose and put it in the wet bay so that we're good to go there. So the big thing to remember with your power cord, plugging it into your pedestal and unplugging it from your pedestal, the first thing you should always do is check that breaker. Make sure it's off before you plug it in, and before you unplug, turn it off again. You don't want to pull it out and cause some arcing or sparking.
Or power surge.
Yeah, anything that'll cause harm to either you or your equipment. Just trip that breaker. So for the tow dolly, it takes us about 15 to 30 minutes to load the car up, depending on the surface that we're parked on and or the weather.
If you want more info on tow dollies and our specific tow dolly as well, we do have a video we just put out for that. I'll put the link for that down below. Phil take the next one since it's all about the dump. He's so good at that. He's got it all.
Yeah, my favorite quote, shitter's full. All right, so in the video you saw us break everything down except we weren't connected to a sewer line, so we couldn't dump our black tank.
Which I must say, that's the first time we haven't had sewage for 7 days.
Yeah.
And we made it through, so woohoo to us.
We did pretty well. So when we left our site, we had to go by the dump station to ensure that we drained both our black and our gray tank. And if you notice in the video, I put a rock behind my sewer line, and then I open up the valve slowly. That's so you don't get an outpouring of either your black or gray into your hose, and it'll cause your hose to kind of just go crazy. It'll go everywhere, and it could pull out of the sewage drain hole itself. You should always dump your black first, followed by your gray, because then your gray, which is mainly your shower and your sink water, will come out and clean the sewer hose. The other thing, I said it in the video, I'll say it again, do not forget your gloves.
Oh yeah, for
of
sure.
some sort. We have seen
it's so gross. So gross.
Many an RVer just going to town on their black tank, gray tank, and bare hands, flinging it on their feet, throwing hoses over their shoulder.
The worst was the table.
Yeah, putting it on the picnic table. We could do a whole nother video on that.
Gosh.
But
We're almost ready. We just finished the gray and black tanks. We finished the last of the slap bracelets, so all those are done. The car's loaded. Just 2 things left.
Yep. Now I'm going to plug in the first thing that I bought for my RV, which was my easy tire pressure monitoring system. So right now I have 10 sensors that are synced to the monitor, so it's going to run its course. Let me know what my tire pressures are. I've already done a visual check of all my tires, so I know we're good there. So now we'll just wait and let this run its course and make sure we're inflated correctly. Alright, so while it's doing that, let's go ahead and punch in our address.
Yes, almost forgot. That was the other thing.
Yep, we need to plug it in.
Alright, so the tire pressure monitor is plugged in. It's gone through all its checks. The tires are good. Now, the next thing we normally do, okay, it's going through its checks still. So the next thing we usually do is punch in our address where we're going in My Garmin, which is an RV specific Garmin, as well as the one in the RV. The reason we have two is because I can't actually see full screen, and I usually tell them ahead of time if we have to make a turn or change lanes. That way we're not stuck and not being able to in time because we're so big. So after I get them both put in, I always verify that they're going the same way. And if they're going a different way, sometimes we pull out our road atlas just to see which way we want to go.
So the TPMS is good. Looks like we're getting good cold readings where they should be. Directions have been put in.
Gives how to find a walk.
He's good.
Most importantly,
we are ready to go.
And finally, one last thing we forgot to add into the video. Some of these things we just do it, don't even think about it, and we forget not everybody will know that they should do these things. The last is checking our lights. So before we drive away, one of us will get behind the RV, we'll check the brakes, the blinker, not only on the RV, but also the tow dolly.
Right.
And then who's ever in the seat, the driver's seat, which occasionally is me for this evolution, you drive forward just a little bit, and that's to make sure the back wheels on the car are actually moving, and for some reason there's not a brake on or a lock on or something. And then we go around to the front, check the blinkers in the front, and if all that is good, then we're ready to roll.
The other important thing that the person in the back is also looking at is to make sure that the trailer or the dolly pin is in. We forgot that one time and it wasn't pleasant.
The very last thing to do is to slam the door and lock.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I hope this video has helped you and let you know some of the things that you will need to do whenever you pack it up and get ready to hit the road. Now, every RV is going to be a little different. You might have a trailer or a fifth wheel instead of a Class A, so everything will be a little different, but a lot of it crosses over to all RVs.
Right, and the one thing that you have to remember is you got to do what works for you.
All right, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. That's right, and we will see you on the road.
So one of the last things that we do... There's a bug on the arm. One of the last things that I do, All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
If you've seen our video that reviews our Yeah, shut up.
Fully level before we push out the slides. No? What?
You held on pretty good. I'm impressed.
All right.
Okay.
Or flinging it around you or your RV, which we've seen happen.
I don't want to be flinging around the poop chute.
No.
That's what it is.
No.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but no, you should never say that. Okay, no.
I'm trying to let you talk because people miss you.
Yeah, I've been requested.
Okay, go.